Magdi, this is John.
Hello, John.
Hi.
Hi.
Um, what I'm hearing, is uh, um, that we all of the body minds, as people say, are God's love or consciousness or whatever awareness, and that somehow that becomes known, and there's less separation between um, some could call it the Lord and oneself. There's and I just heard that today. It's just kind of like opening up and being compassionate. I mean, I like those words um, because those types of things happen when I think when I do, not as if I do all the time, but um, have a kind of fullness, or at least um, have lost the separateness for whatever reason. And there's a fullness. I think it just happens in every human that there's times when there is compassion. And so where am I going? I'm just going that and there's a part of me that there's something that resonates with that, and there's a deep kind of this love, this kind of deep um, love. But and I was thinking, but it's also love for myself, the separate self, in a sense. Um, the when I feel separate, which I've been feeling a lot lately, and I have a lot of anxiety, and a lot of things are going to happen soon. I'm pretty sure, and there's going to be big changes. And to the separate person, to me, the mind, it's all going to be downhill and hurtful and so forth and so on. And other times, I think maybe it won't be quite as bad, and it's one day at a time. But anyway, back to this. I mean, I really hear this and can kind of understand it intellectually and sometimes within the body because um, I feel that with the compassion, I feel that with a love and a love for others and compassion for others. I've always heard other people say about others or something like that, and I would always have different thoughts. I had, well, maybe they're this or this. It's not so easy to criticize and judge others. Um, uh, and but I have trouble maintaining that kind of, I'll say, state, but um, maybe I just should say that type of deepness or love or compassion or whatever it's made out of. Um, I have trouble, especially when I feel separated and scared. So I just want to share that. Maybe you have some thoughts on that. Thank you, Magdi.
Yeah, sometimes there are worries and concern, maybe fear. And sometimes there is understanding that there is a passing show and that what is impermanent is impermanent. But there is the permanent aspect as well, which is not a phenomenal aspect. Sometimes there is concern and worry about the body mind, what's happening to it. And we do our best with that, to take care of the body mind the best way we can at the moment. And we forget sometimes that we are just the managers of the body mind. We forget that, and we feel that we are the body mind, that what is happening to me, while in fact anything that is happening is something that we are viewing. We view sensations, we view certain bodily events, we view world events, we view our thoughts. But sometimes we overlook that we are the perceiving aspect, which is invisible to the senses. And we identify with the body mind via the senses, via the mind. We go back and forth. But there is the understanding also, which is available to us, that I is not something that is perceived, that I is not something that is felt. And it's important to own this understanding. It's okay to forget it on occasion, but to own the understanding, meaning to be clear, to be very clear that you are the invisible reality, the invisible perceiving element, and it is that which is real, that which is non-phenomenal, that which does not come into existence and goes out of existence, is reality. That you, not the body mind named John, you, whatever that is that knows it is, whatever it is that knows it perceives, you are that reality. To be completely clear about that, and experientially in this moment, you perceive these words, you perceive this perception, but you do not perceive yourself, although you are the perceiving aspect. You are not perceived as a sound or as an object or as an image. That which perceives is not perceived. That is actual experience in this moment. It's important that you invite this understanding to sink in, and that for you to own it, that yes, that is something I am clear about. You always have your experience available to you. You can always turn your attention to awareness, which is awareness turning its attention to itself. I don't know what I am, but there is no doubt about being. Being is and cannot not be. And with the body mind, we do our best with the body mind. And in terms of forgetting, in terms of forgetting that we are this invisible, formless presence, and going back to the model that, oh, I am somebody, I'm a man, I'm a person, I'm a young man, I'm an old man, and I'm a mother, a father. That's okay. It's okay to forget your true self, because your true self is going to remind you of itself. It's going to remind itself of itself, because you have the understanding already. The understanding is there. You, meaning awareness itself, knows itself. It has sort of bubbled to the surface of consciousness, as a way of speaking. That understanding is available to you, is there. It is yours. You can trust it. Don't worry if you go back and forth in terms of the worries and the concerns. To a certain extent, certain degree of concern makes sense about the body mind, so that you can make the right decisions, take care of it, turn your attention to it. But you don't need to identify with it. This is something you have to sort of explore. How can I do my best with the body mind without identifying with it? On occasion, okay, we identify, and then we realize, no, that's pretty miserable. And after doing your best, then you can let God do the rest. What is meant to pass will pass. There is nothing you need to do about it. Everything which appears disappears. Everything which comes into existence goes out of existence. You can contemplate what is it in my experience which does not come into existence nor goes out of existence.
So when I'm thinking, and this is the personal self, I mean, because it's a judgment on myself. Even when I mean, hear this all the time, uh, the idea that we do the best with the body and circumstances and so forth and so on, taking care of and so forth and so on. Um, and I criticize myself that I can't really. And sometimes I'm compassionate towards myself, but there's also a critical voice, a very judgmental voice that says you just can't do it. You know, I mean, other people, maybe other people who are getting this understanding, they're able to do it, but you can't do it, and you have to face that reality. And um, and sometimes I say, so what? You know, then that's the way it is. Uh, what's meant to be is meant to be in some sense. You know, not to use it necessarily as an excuse not to take care of myself, but um, somewhere I have to let go because it doesn't really matter in the ultimate,
Yes.
you know,
In the ultimate, nothing really matters. Nothing relative really matters.
relative. Yeah,
Yeah. But that which is absolute is. It matters to itself, of itself. Um, and in terms of like judging yourself, you know, other people can do it, I cannot do it.
yeah,
There's nothing that, in fact, we do. Everything we do is being done through us.
yeah.
One could say, I am speaking these words or I'm hearing these words, but the speaking of these words and the hearing of these words is being done through this instrument. But that which does, that which hears, that which perceives is not the instrument.
And could one say, I, meaning not the separate self, uh, I am speaking these words, I am hearing these words.
Absolutely. That's
Yeah.
a no-brainer. Yes, I am speaking
And,
this, I am hearing these words, but this I, as you said,
yes,
is consciousness itself.
yes, exactly. This is to me, even when you're speaking now, and you can see I even have a little bit more of a live voice. You know, it's more there's more energy in it than what I was speaking before, because I'm getting you're telling me something and it's resonating, and it's also, I mean, I needed to get this off my chest, I think, or whatever it is, for whatever reason, about this not measuring up type of thing. And but the other part that always is happening right now, it happened when you did the meditation in the beginning, really, and that is the aspect of either what I know as a separate self, or I guess I wouldn't know that, but what I know, this love, this deep, compassionate love, this just love, is, and for me, it's it's self-love. It doesn't mean I don't can't love others and do things that are loving and kind, and I do.
Love
Um,
is for everything.
yeah, but you and when you were saying this is just I'm going to call it Lord, just the same thing as the ultimate or consciousness. Uh, Lord does all, you know,
Yes.
and 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 that love. Sometimes that's I could guess I could call that I know that I am then because that love surpasses everything. But it wouldn't just be for me; it would be for others. But somehow, whatever's happening is I'm this love somehow has to show up somehow to love itself within me, within me, the body, mind. It has to somehow show up some way to know that that's who I truly am, that is the biggest, the largest, beyond the body, the mind, and all the thoughts and everything else is this love. And I just, it
Whenever,
just keeps coming back to me.
whenever you turn your attention to simply being, the peace of being, not towards thinking or remembering, or just turn your attention to being. It's love.
Yeah,
Whenever you're imagining a separate self, this separate self that you're imagining or you're feeling or you're sensing
yeah,
is simply a caricature of the one and only self. In other words, the personal self is the universal self with a little reduction,
I'm sorry, with what? With no reduction?
a reduction,
Uh, uh,
a diminution with a. So rather than reducing the self, which means I, presence, to the sense of separation, to the me, to the separate self, go the
yeah.
other way around. Expand the self, expand your sense of self to include all the senses of self, to include everything. In other words, open the gates, open the windows and the doors, take down the walls, and explore your personal self to be free, free your sense of personal self. That is a truly compassionate thing to do towards your personal self, is to free it, to release it from any beliefs, from any constraints, from any worries and troubles and regrets. And
That that that's what love does. It seems for me. Um, Here, it's it it's done automatically. I guess I'll say. I don't know any other word to use. Um, but it's done automatically when there's a deep sense of this love that it feels like it is all of me. or it's deep. Maybe all of me, not always, but it's deep and it's like it automatically is like a mother or a loving mother or a loving father, um, who would just embrace the child. And I guess when a child gets that, they feel complete and secure and whole, because maybe they feel like nothing can harm them, and they are one with the father or the mother is one with them. I guess what I'm trying to say is that that love is something that helps me to disappear, um, helps me to disappear in a way where you know it it is it is filling me. The personal, it fills me somehow,
Mm.
and I would use the word disappear because it sort of fills and it erases or puts me. I'm just using words on this. I don't know exactly if it's correct or not, but it puts me in. It puts me kind of out of business with the thoughts and the fear. Sometimes it just I become that love. Whether it's my um, I mean, and sometimes I think, well, that's you're just trying to, you know, you're just trying to get there because you are fearful and all that kind of stuff. But there's a big part of me that says no, it is really true, and this is the non-dual. This is the one. This is the love, and I mean that's where I can I call it feeling strength. In other words, that strength is not like or powerful type of thing, but it's more like as a person, but it's more like I do feel a strength within, even as a separate person. I think that's what it is. And I do feel that. I just feel that that I'm operating as that strength, as that love. But it's not long lasting. Um, but maybe someday. I just wanted to share that. I don't know how to, how to say it except for what I just said. So it may be different than what you're suggesting, but I'm just reiterating that that is a huge thing for me, um, and it will take care of me. It, uh, the exploring myself sometimes, like I go into what is my true name, and I go okay, so I see the awareness and all that, but the mind just goes back and forth, and the pain is greater sometimes, the emotional pain or psychological pain, and and there's this mind stuff that's fighting back and forth sometimes, and the love part comes. Um, it may start with the mind in some sense that it needs a relief from this, or some it just introduces itself in the mind in some way or in the body or somehow, and that seems to take over. And um, I think then the effects can be, or the action a lot of times in the mind and the body, is that my thoughts are different, and it's to take care of myself, and it's to be right now, and like nothing's happening right now, and or yes, something's happening and it's slowly happening, but there's nothing happening right now, and actually you can have good feelings or calm feelings or whatever you want to call them, peaceful feelings, you know and they do happen, but the personal body mind won't allow them to happen for very long. Um, but nonetheless, that comes about, and yes, it's a back and forth thing with the personal mind and body uh, winning out on who's going to be in kind of winning out on who's going to be in control here. So I'm listening and I'm trying to hear you as far as exploring certain things, but also guess I wanted you to, I guess I wanted you to match it up with this love thing and, uh, and see how that is, uh, it seems that that is really who I am. And if that works in some way, um, to let go of the personal stuff, then uh, maybe I need to explore more of that in some sense, and or just continue to notice that and be that which is um, feels whole to me, feels larger than life.
Life appears to you. You don't
Yes,
appear in life. You don't appear in life.
yes,
The mind appears to you. You don't
yeah,
appear in the mind. Thoughts appear to you. You don't appear in the thoughts. Love is your true self. Love is that which neither appears nor disappears. When you throw a stone in the water, there are ripples. You can observe the ripples. You see the ripples, but you don't see the water because the water has no color,
yeah,
no shape, no. So in the mind, in the body, you can see the ripples of love, like when a stone is thrown in the water, but you don't
yeah.
see the love because the love is invisible, invisible to the body, invisible to the mind. But you can see the ripples, the effects. Love is the source, which is your reality. The love that you perceive is just a reflection of the love that you are.
Uh, then that's at least that's a the reflection is a good place to be too. I mean, if that's where our, I mean, because
The
I
reflection appears to you, the ripples appear to you.
yes,
You cannot be there because being has no location. You,
right,
you, what you are has no phenomenal location, or being is and cannot not be. So the
So
love that
when,
you receive, the love that you experience, the sensation that you experience are just the ripples on the surface of consciousness.
sure, I hear that, and we put consciousness and love synonymously and stuff like that. But well, I don't want to say, but it's that I guess what I mean, when you started to say it's a reflection, it's ripples and all that, then it sort of confirmed for me, it sort of confirmed the idea that this love is is who you truly are. And so yes, I can also see that there's ripples within myself in some sense, or these, you know, but in other words, if I am love, okay, then I do, I the ripples are perceived, okay, um,
In
but
know,
I am not the ripples. The love is the largest, and I
in,
guess that's what I'm catching on to.
right,
I don't know if that's.
in
Go ahead.
knowing, in knowing that you are that, that you are the love, in
Yes.
knowing that
Yes.
there is a sufficiency, and
Yes.
in knowing that you are love itself, then you know that everything is love. Because you,
Uh,
meaning you not as a separate entity, you as the reality of consciousness, the one
yeah.
reality. You
Yeah.
is the reality which right now perceives this perception. There is a perceiving aspect, which is you, which is what we call I, perceiving aspect. And this perceiving aspect is non-phenomenal, it's
Yes.
non-local. Knowing
Okay.
yourself to be that, knowing yourself to be that reality, to be the one and only reality, is love, is a recognition of love, because love is non-dual. There are not two
Okay.
love, there's only one. In knowing yourself to be the one reality, simultaneously you know love, because love and one reality are one. And given that there is one reality,
Yes.
everything else, quote unquote, else, because there is nothing else when there is only one reality, but everything that you perceive, conceive, and sense
Yes.
is that one reality, belongs to that one reality, and therefore belongs to love and is love itself.
Yeah.
That which is not love is the impression, the mind impression, the belief
Okay.
that there is another reality, a separate reality, me reality and you reality. And these two realities are separate.
Yeah.
That is the impression of separation, which means non love. Separation and love are, uh, uh, they cannot coexist.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
There is
Yeah.
no possibility of combining love, which is oneness and wholeness, with separation, right?
Right.
The impression of non love, that, oh, sometimes I love and sometimes I don't love, it only
Yeah.
means that sometimes there is the belief in separation, and sometimes that belief is absent. In the absence of the belief
Yeah.
that I am somebody and you are somebody else, there is love. In the absence of that belief, there is love. Because the sense of separation is connected to the belief and the sensation of being separate, of duality. In the
Right.
absence of the belief in duality and the sense of duality, there is love. Having said that, it's important to comprehend that the absence of love is not real.
Yeah. Yeah.
In other words, separation is an impression. There is no reality to separation. Because if there was a reality to separation, then we would have a real problem, right?
Well, I think that's what
So
that's what the
the
mind does. So that's what my
separation
mind
is
does.
not real. This is why in understanding there is no concern.
Yeah, I see.
It's not like there is a fire and the fire trucks need to go to put out the fire. There is no fire.
Yeah,
It's a game of light. It's a mirage of a fire.
yeah,
There's no actual fire.
yeah,
When
yeah.
we say love is our true nature, we're basically saying there is one reality, which is a reality of consciousness. Whatever it is that it hears right now and perceives right now is real. And there are not two realities. If there are not two realities, that means there is only one reality, which is love. And one reality means everything is love. There is only love.
That's a harder one for me. Everything is love, but still, I am understanding, and it really is. Well, I hope that it sinks in some
In the
sense. But
absence, in the absence, in the absence of a me story,
yeah,
in in the gap between thoughts, there is understanding, there is peace, there is love.
there's love. There's love.
And a thought arises in the gap between thoughts. A thought arises in the gap between thoughts because a thought requires a gap to appear. It cannot appear in another thought.
That's true.
Thought A cannot appear in thought B. It only can appear in the gap. So therefore, the thought itself is embraced by the gap, which is love, meaning
Yeah,
phenomena itself, thoughts, perceptions, and sensations are nothing else
yes,
but a modulation of love.
yes,
Wind.
yes. There's nothing but love. Yeah,
Yes.
yes. That's um. That's I for some reason I think that's important, at least for the mind, or for what at least a personal self, a this sort of thing that um, a life history, a type of thing, or conditioning, and this and that, all that kind of stuff. Somehow this plays, and you're going through this um, actually reinforces this what well, I guess this is with all being human beings and stuff like that, and with all activity of love, is that it reinforces what we already know. And I'll also say for me what I already know, and that is this love thing, and somehow that happened when I was younger, despite the circumstances, and I think somehow it's it has in some ways it's trying to come alive. Not that it has to try to come alive. I don't know how to explain this, but whatever you've said and whatever I was able to say um, is making some sense to the mind. I don't expect it to make complete sense, but I have this recording. I mean, I'll have this tape. You'll send it or whatever, but um, it's I'm appreciative of it, and I need to be able to speak about this so I can hear the truth. I just need to hear the truth. Thank you so much, Magdi.
Yes. You're welcome.